Hi, welcome to the Thursday TNT, and thanks of course to 5-Star Marine. A little bit later, a story about an American and his Thai wife who have been scammed out of a property in Hua Hin. A bit of a warning tale. It does happen, sadly, more often than we'd like to admit. But first we go to Pattaya, and more about these people who are sleeping on the beach, the story that just won't go to sleep. Pattaya Mail reporting viral video of Indians sleeping on Pattaya Beach, in quotes, sparks controversy, but were they really tourists? And plenty of you with your own ideas on the matter. I've had to delete some of the more racist commentary. In early February, it starts, a viral video emerged purportedly showing nearly 100 Indian tourists sleeping on Pattaya Beach. And it says this led to widespread criticism and concern about the behaviour of these tourists and its potential impact on Pattaya's reputation. But on closer examination, local officials and representatives from the Indian community in Pattaya debunked the video's claims. And the mayor of Pattaya said the city welcomes tourists to use the public beach for various activities. These should be conducted appropriately. The bottom line in all this was that, well, people can sleep on the beach if they want, as long as they're not doing anything illegal. And whilst being quite non-committal about the issue, he did say this. He'd mentioned ongoing discussions with the local Indian associations to inform travel companies and tour groups about proper behaviour. So plenty of fingers being pointed, but exactly who were these people lying on the beach? Why doesn't anybody seem to know? And the story quotes one observer who said, "That's insulting for the police who can't figure out who's who in Pattaya. That's the only way I can figure out the mix-up, unless they really were Indian tourists and that India Association flexed its PR muscles." And then finishing, this situation underscores the importance of accurate information and the need for both authorities and the public to approach such incidents with caution, ensuring that the conclusions are based on verified facts to maintain community harmony and uphold the city's reputation. And one person in our comment section saying that if the situation continues, Thailand will be flooded with Asians. So we now head to Washington, sort of. Nation Thailand tackling this question. Trump's tariffs and trade policies, what they mean for Thailand. Thailand must adapt, the article says, to boost its competitiveness and economic growth amid shifts in the global economic landscape, thanks to US President Donald Trump's recent trade policies, several experts have said. So I read the article, so you don't have to, and there's really nothing much to report in this, just a few various paragraphs and quotes. And the president of the PHANG Institute of Management said the US's reciprocal tariffs against trade surplus countries would encourage nations to seek new trade partners or focus on stimulating their domestic economies. Or sort of stating the bleeding obvious. He went on to say he doesn't expect Thailand to face severe impacts from this 25% tax on steel and aluminium. Then the president of the Marketing Association of Thailand said that Trump's export tariff policy would affect Thailand's trade and exports due to rising export costs. And then he says Trump's policy does not just affect the economies of the US and China, but also of other countries, including Thailand. Without mentioning anything specific, and the whole article really didn't have any specifics, nobody could really point their finger at any one thing that would be directly affecting Thailand in the near future. Let's just have a look at what's happening with the US dollar versus the Thai baht today. And again, not really very much to report. Today you'll get just over 34 baht to the US dollar. And that chart there showing the last year with its ups and its downs, and we're still somewhere in that medium range over the past year, and not much to report. Speaking of graphs, this is probably more interesting. This is the air pollution index for the day from iqair.com. Bangkok, number 12 today in the list of the world's worst polluted cities, or air pollution anyway. And we can see in that white circle, Bangkok somewhere in there, in amongst all the red and the purple, which means the air is poor and in some cases hazardous. And the wider chart showing that really the poor air is affecting most of Thailand, except parts in the extreme northeast. certainly Western Cambodia contributing a lot to the poor air in the way of smoke and forest and plantation fires. As we go from air pollution to property scans, and we're heading to, the sleepy little town of Hua Hin. Perhaps not quite so sleepy these days, and HuaHinToday.com. American man buys luxury home in Hua Hin, discovers it belongs to someone else. And an American man and his Thai wife who purchased a luxury home in Hua Hin for 15 million baht were shocked to discover that the property had already been mortgaged to another party and did not legally belong to them. The case, which has drawn widespread attention, was recently featured on Channel 7 HD. And trying to finalise the ownership transfer, they were suspicious of the delays, and the couple decided to verify the land title deed and the land department in Hua Hin. It was then they discovered the land had been mortgaged to an investor in 2021. This means that despite having paid the full amount, they couldn't legally own the house and land. When confronted, the project's developers offered to refund the couple's money. Basically, the cheques bounced. Meanwhile, the housing project has since ceased operations. And Pass, the American man who first arrived in Thailand in 1962 and worked in the country for 5 years, had planned to retire in Hua Hin with his wife Mew. Believing the housing project to be a good investment, he paid the full amount of over 15 million baht. However, in the project's final email to him, he was told he could collect the house, but without the land. And to round this off, the founder of the Sai Mai Tong Rod Facebook page said that after confirming the land had been sold under a right of redemption agreement, they attempted to contact the new owner. However, the buyer refused to sell it back, indicating this was not an isolated case and that other victims may be involved. Well, sadly, this does happen far more often than we'd like to admit. I'm very much on the side of just renting whilst you're living here in Thailand. I think it does save a lot of hassles. But if you do want to go ahead and purchase maybe a condo or get involved in a project, that is up to you. But make sure you do a lot of homework and due diligence before you sign anything. So all this cutting power, cutting telecommunications and supplies to these scam cities around the borders of Thailand seems to be, working, at least for these 261 people. Myanmar scam gangs free 261 people. It says the government's preparing for an influx of foreign victims released from the clutches of call centre scam gangs in Myanmar after Thailand cut off power and internet. And these comments made just hours before the Democratic Karen Buddhist Army sent 261 such victims to Thailand for repatriation, and they arrived after being rescued from the KK Park and Shwe Koko entertainment complexes. And the foreigners will be questioned and returned to their home countries with coordination from their embassies. As in the past cases, it's expected that authorities will find some were trafficked while others took the jobs willingly. And then in another article from Bangkok Post, the headline, Thailand readies for influx of freed foreign scam centre victims. And says the foreigners included Bangladeshis, Ethiopians, Kenyans and Filipinos. Thai officials would question them about their experience or possible involvement in trafficking and check their background profiles. Now, from my own contacts in this matter, I understand that there may have been money paid by a private individual for the release of these 261 people. Now, they are just the tip of the iceberg, but at least a start of some of these victims escaping the clutches of these scam gangs. It is estimated by some NGOs that there are up to 300,000 people enslaved in these centres, and obviously there's a lot more people that need to be released before the situation is over. And of course, these scam centre gangs, they'll just shut up shop in these particular towns. They'll find electricity and telecom somewhere else in the lawless Myanmar. There's plenty of it, and continue their operations. You can be sure of that. And with that, thank you very much for watching today. Hopefully you're a bit more up to date with some of the things happening around Thailand. Big thanks again to 5-Star Marine at 5starmarinephuket.com. Please subscribe to the channel. What have I forgotten? We'll see you tomorrow.